Welcome to PRINCE2 Agile Practitioner version 2, the official sample paper 1 from PeopleCert. So here we go with the first question. Why is adaptability crucial in an agile approach to ambiguity? A, it reduces the need for effective team working. B, it allows organizations to refine the perfect solution. C, it helps achieve changing goals as part of a bigger strategy. D, it supports a deeper understanding of users' needs. Now, one thing for the practitioner exam is you need to be fully conversant with the foundation concepts because the practitioner course material itself is not too much. There are just a few slides, just close to about 50 slides only, including section headings and introduction to the course and so on. But the foundation course is the basis for the concepts that you need to apply for the practitioner course. And then there is a little bit of additional content relevant only for the practitioner, additional information into the content for the training. So think about the answer for this question. Why is adaptability crucial in an agile approach to ambiguity? So adaptability is the key term here. And what that means under the PRINCE2 Agile version 2 guidance, it is the ability to adapt to goals quickly within a bigger strategy. So if you notice, choice C is that one. It helps achieve changing goals as part of a bigger strategy, which means you have to know the concept to answer this question. And you can see clearly here, there is no need to use the scenario information to answer this question. So there will be several such questions. So here we have even the other, let's look at what the other choices here mean. Choice A reduces the need for effective team working. In fact, it is the opposite. In Agile, we need collaboration, which is working closely with team members, stakeholders, and users to deliver value. And collaboration is not just teamwork. It's about creating a culture of shared ownership and mutual support so that the Agile team can harness diverse perspective and foster the co-creation of solutions. Choice B allows organizations to refine the perfect solution. Complex environments lead to ambiguity as well, and therefore it becomes difficult to find a single solution satisfying all needs and addressing all sorts of risks. So instead of trying to waste time and energy looking for a perfect solution, what is meant by choice B here to refine the perfect solution, it is better to stay adaptable and be able to pivot or direct to another solution quickly. D, it supports a deeper understanding of user needs. That is not adaptability, it is actually understanding, having a deeper understanding of the underlying user needs. So C is the correct answer. Question number 2. When gathering feedback on mockups, delivery team members have found it difficult to attend stand-ups. Which statement explains how to ensure an agile mindset is maintained on the project? A. Allow team members to attend when they are available and have something important to say. B. Set up an online meeting to update the burn chart and remind everyone of the importance of attending to share progress. C. Set up a daily stand-up where the project manager presents progress to the delivery team. And D. Schedule the daily stand-up several times during the day to allow team members to attend at the same time or at the time that suits them. So it's a challenging situation for such agile teams that they find it difficult to attend stand-ups, whereas it's a mandatory meeting for everybody in the team. So what best could be done here? So when we think about the agile mindset, it is about having transparency and rich communication. And that is achieved by regular meetings, open documentation, clear visibility of the current work status, and also ensuring that the progress happens and aligns with the defined direction. So using an online meeting to update the burn chart and ensuring attendance to share progress is a good idea. And that will ensure transparency and rich communication. And therefore, we can see choice B is in line with that, setting up an online meeting to update the burn chart and remind everyone of the importance of attending to share progress. Now, if you look at the choice A, attending only when available and something important to say, this is not a good approach. As we have seen, that we need openness is needed for building trust and keeping everyone aligned with goals, progress, and any changes that are going on, and any challenges as well. And that will encourage sharing of updates, goals, progress, obstacles, getting feedback without fear. And then the team can make informed decisions and collaborate more effectively. So regular meetings, open documentation, clear visibility of the current status support this transparency. And if they attend only when they choose to, that does not enable transparency. Choice C, set up a daily stand-up where the project manager presents progress to the daily team. This is uh, does not promote information sharing. It's just a one-way information flow. Choice D, scheduling the daily stand-up several times during the day so that people can attend the one that suits their timing. That's also a little odd. And it will not promote transparency among everybody in the team and also the rich communication. A lot of things will be missed out in terms of communication among the team members. So B is correct. Next, we have question number 3. The project is in the starting up a project process. The advocate emphasized that marginalized communities, particularly refugees, often face language barriers, which could affect their understanding of the campaign. The project manager recommended using multilingual versions of the campaign to address this concern. Which principle is being applied? A, manage by exception. B, focus on products. C, define roles, responsibilities, and relationships. Or D, manage by stages. Now, I would urge you to try this without having to recall the scenario, the now be used scenario. Look at the situation here and see which principle is being applied here. A very quick look here. Choice A, I do not see anything regarding tolerances or escalations, so it cannot be A. B, focus on products. You see the multilingual versions as a recommendation to be including that multilingual versions into the campaign. And that's definitely something to do with what is being delivered. So that connects well with focus on products. Let's keep that with us on the side for a moment. Choice C, we do not see anything to do with the defining roles, responsibilities, and relationships. So C should be rolled out. And there's nothing here about managing by stages also. So D, we can roll out that. And therefore, the correct answer would be focus on products, choice B, because that emphasizes delivering well-defined outputs or products rather than focusing solely on activities. And by doing this, it ensures efficiency by avoiding unnecessary work, prevents uncontrolled changes or scope creep, improves the stakeholder satisfaction by setting clear expectations, and also facilitates smooth and controlled project closure. And if needed, the project may be paused and then resumed as needed. And the multilingual version, these are the needs of the users, and therefore it is quite apt that it is related to focus on products. And by users, we mean particularly refugees face language barriers. Question number 4. The campaign scope includes producing some printed materials to support outreach efforts before the end of the project. A local supplier meets the minimum sustainability standard but cannot produce the full print order within the required time frame. A larger supplier can meet the timeline but does not meet the minimum sustainability standards. How should the team proceed? A. Use the largest supplier as meeting the full scope within the time frame is critical. B. Use the local supplier even if it means delivering fewer printed materials as sustainability is a fixed tolerance. C. Split the order between the local supplier and the largest supplier to achieve scope and sustainability targets. D. Delay the distribution of printed materials to allow the local supplier to complete the order. This should trigger some concepts in your mind. Specifically, think about the tolerances. You see the minimum sustainability standard, and the challenge here is between that tolerance for the minimum to be achieved versus the time delay to create everything. So we can see here that sustainability has a fixed tolerance. So the minimum sustainability tolerance. And therefore, if you look at choice B, that would be correct. Use the local supplier, even if it means delivering fewer printed materials, as sustainability is a fixed tolerance. And what that means is all decisions must prioritize adherence to ethical and environmental standards. Now, scope is flexed for should have and could have, as we know, but it is fixed for must haves and flexed for should and could haves, as I just mentioned. Whereas sustainability fixed for minimum criteria and flexed for anything above the minimum criteria. This is what the concept is. So B would be correct. The other choices do not align with the question there for the same reason. And thinking about the time delay, if you look at choice D, delay the distribution of printed materials to allow the local supplier to complete the order. Now, this is creating a delay. And we know that the timeline is fixed in Agile, zero tolerance for extra time on all levels of plan. And it seems to indicate that it can be delayed indefinitely. And the main reason here is that meeting the sustainability fixed tolerance there. And the larger supplier can meet the timeline, but does not meet the minimum, whereas the local supplier meets the standard but cannot produce the full print order within the required time frame. So instead of the full print order, the scope can be flexed there. And with the flex scope, there is no time delay as well. So that's what is meant by trying to eliminate choice D. Question number 5. The project team is preparing for stage 2, which includes agile training and coaching sessions. Considering now BU's goal of improving agile maturity, how should the team approach these sessions? A. Deliver lectures on agile theory and standardize industry terminology. B. Conduct role-specific workshops for project managers and product owners. C. Blend learning with hands-on application, customized to now BU's environment. D. Focus on case studies of successful agile transformations in the private sector. So the concept we need to recall is that people need to have both theoretical understanding and practical application to effectively adopt the agile practices. Therefore, the training and coaching concept implies that people do not need to be just informed, but they need to understand the application of the proposed changes through theoretical training and practical coaching on the job. Therefore, we can see that choice C aligns with that: blend learning with hands-on application customized to now BU's environment. Choice A, just delivering lectures, not okay. Choice B, only workshops, and that too limited only for project managers and product owners. It's not good. Choice D, focusing on case studies. That's also not appropriate. It doesn't cover theoretical training and the proper practical coaching. Case studies can help with the coaching, but we need more than that. Question number 6. Which factor is the most important when ensuring changes stay in place after transformation? A. Focusing on complying with process. B. Enhancing financial incentives. C. Evolving organizational culture. Or D. Establishing a communication strategy. This is about embedding changes in the longer run. If you recall the change management approach, it's about how the change will be brought, meaning the culture of change. What is the initial condition or current condition before the change, and what is the target condition after the change? And it should also specify or describe the interim states and how the movement will happen from the initial to the first interim state, and then further to each and every subsequent interim state, and eventually to the final state. And the responsibilities and any kind of tools and techniques to be used, and so on. And Therefore, as part of that, the change management approach should also consider the evolving culture and the ways to ensure that the changes are not rolled back after the transformation. And therefore, that evolving culture is specified in C. Therefore, C becomes the most important. It is important to evolve the organization culture so that the changes stay in place after transformation. Now, A, focusing on compliance with processes. So true agility, as we know, that is beyond processes. That is like do agile rather than be agile. Then choice B, enhancing financial initiatives. That will be useful. Uh, the initiatives there, it can create some motivation. But for the higher motivation to adhere to the agile values, the bonus systems are introduced where peers assess each other and can award others with an amount of points or fictional currency for model behavior based on agile behaviors. And to add to this, because people need tangible incentives alongside intangible motivators also, such as purpose and recognition, alongside just financial rewards. Therefore, A is choice B is just financial, so it's not fully correct. Choice D, in establishing a communication strategy. That is important to meaning to have a good communication strategy, but then it is not the most important. So we will see that in the communication management approach, it is worth considering the communication strategy, any relevant learning or upskilling needed. But then we see specifically for C, that is mentioned, that the evolving culture and ways to ensure changes are not rolled back after the transformation. Therefore, it is specifically about the ensuring that these changes stay in place, while the others can be beneficial in some way. Question number 7. Which stakeholder is most likely to be a key influencer with the local communities? A, advocate, B, marketing agency, Bright Pulse, C, campaign analyst, or D, communication specialist. This question definitely needs to have a look into the scenario, because these are coming all from the scenario. So one should not guess the answer here. So question is about who could be that key influencer for the local communities. Now, in the scenario, we see that the advocate leads the now BU's efforts to engage marginalized communities and to amplify their voices. And the PRINCE2 Agile tells us that key influencers can be those who can shape the perception of the majority within the organizational ecosystem. These are the people who, through their network, can have the greatest influence on the adoption of the change outcomes and the realization of benefits. Therefore, the advocate seems to be a good candidate. Now, marketing agency Bright Pulse, that is choice B, they do have experience in agile marketing and diversity, and they will be overseeing the creation of the campaign materials, but unlikely to be a key influencer with the local communities. Similarly, the choice C, campaign analyst, they specialize in campaign analytics and impact measurement, and but not likely to be a key influencer with the local communities. And then choice D, the communication specialist, is a digital communication expert who specializes in social media for the NGOs, but unlikely to be a key influencer with the local communities. Now, one thing about, as I mentioned earlier, that the key influencers may be those who shape the perception of the majority within the organizational ecosystem, and these are the people who, through their network, can have the greatest influence on the adoption of the change outcomes and the realization of benefits. So keeping that in mind, the correct answer would be choice A. We move on to question number 8. The project is in the initiation stage, and the project manager is establishing the project team. External police force representatives will advise on the campaign and its effectiveness. Which action is most likely to encourage effective working across different organizations? A. Use a team skill matrix to identify the skills that the police force representatives require. B. Ensure that the police force representatives are co-located in now BU's office. C. Use a delegation matrix to clarify which decisions the police force representatives will advise on. Or D. ensure that the police force representatives have experience in agile ways of working. Now, when establishing the project team, there'll be work done across people cultures. So here we have the police force as well. And then what can encourage the effective working across different organizations? And the concept here is that successful working across cultures requires setting clear boundaries within which people can flex. And therefore, the delegation matrix will clarify which decisions the police force representatives will advise on. So C would be correct. We'll take a look at the other choices. Choice A, team matrix, which is a skill matrix. It's definitely valuable for project delivery teams because it provides a clear overview of the team's capabilities, individual strengths, gaps, and areas for development. Though it is useful or helpful, but the delegation matrix will clarify roles and therefore support the teamwork. Choice B, co-location of the police force representatives in the now BO's office. Now, co-location can also help to develop social cohesion, as we know, but making this mandatory would be unlikely to be effective because the phrase in choice B begins with ensure. So that's not a good idea. And because whether teams work virtually or in person or through hybrid ways, the way people work with each other needs to be considered carefully in order to use their time and properly and to build social cohesion. Therefore, not necessary to be co-located, although it does help with teamwork. Choice D, also ensuring that the police force representatives will have experience in agile ways of working. Now, this is a good thing, but unlikely that it is practical to ensure that everybody in the police force would have experience with agile, or those representatives at least. And ideally, organizations would assign individuals to each required role, but this is often impractical. So C is correct. Question number 9. Why is a communication management approach crucial in change initiatives within agile team? A, it eliminates the need for bidirectional feedback. B, it ensures messaging is tailored to different stakeholders. C, it eliminates informal communication networks. Or D, it ensures a generic messaging style for all stakeholders. Think about the communication management approach. That should foster listening and not just broadcasting or sending messages. It should seek to understand the perceptions and concerns of the people involved and address them before they become more significant risks. And also allows for messaging to be tailored to the concerns and interests of different groups within the change initiative and the wider organizational ecosystem. So tailoring messages to address diverse concerns is the benefit of this communication management approach. Therefore, choice B would be correct. It ensures messaging is tailored to different stakeholders. If you look at choice A, eliminates the need for bidirectional feedback. Now, this is not good. In fact, the communication management approach facilitates rather than preventing that feedback. It defines and describes the means and frequency of communication, and as well as to receive feedback from across the ecosystem, supporting alignment and shaping of the initiatives. And it facilitates engagement with stakeholders through the establishment of a controlled and bi-directional flow of information. Choice C, eliminating informal communication networks. That's not a good idea either. Because most communication within an organization occurs or between organizations occurs outside of formal channels. Therefore, it is best to accept this situation and provide information in multiple formats so that people can share while also offering multiple pathways for feedback. Choice D ensures a generic messaging style for all stakeholders. It's also not fine. Generic messaging is rarely effective because people obtain information from various channels, and identifying and working with key influencers from the user, supplier, and business stakeholder groups helps accommodate different perspectives. And that will ensure strong feedback loops and enables tailored messaging for each of these groups. So B is correct. The last question, number 10. In this first recording, out of the 5 recordings for sample paper 1, as I mentioned earlier, we are covering 10 questions in each recording. And with a total of 50 in the sample paper 1, there'll be 5 recordings for sample paper 1. And this will be labeled as part 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 each. Question number 10. The project is in the initiation stage and the team is defining the management approaches in the project initiation workshop. As the team members from Now BU and then NGOs are less familiar with agile ways of working than those from the online event organizer, the team will develop a project skills matrix to highlight any gaps in team member capabilities which need to be addressed. Which consideration for agile teams is most likely to be applied when using the skills matrix? A. Co-deciding team values and accountabilities. B. Empowering teams with training plans. C. Motivating teams through value-based incentives and personal values. Or D. Visual management with team dashboards. If you recollect the team skills matrix, it is connected with supporting training plans and empowering team members. And this team skills matrix artifact is used frequently to visually represent areas of current and planned future expertise and skills on agile teams. So choice B would be correct. Empowering teams with training plans. This consideration is most likely to be applied when using the skills matrix. Choice A, co-deciding team values and accountabilities. The question is about highlighting the skill gaps, whereas this co-deciding team values and accountabilities relate to understanding what the boundaries of self-management are and when decisions must be escalated due to organizational guidelines. Choice C, motivating teams through value-based incentives and personal values. And so it's not connected with the skill gaps being to be highlighted, whereas this one is more about motivating employees in the adoption of agile values. That is what choice C relates to. Then choice D, visual management with team dashboards. So this is again not connected with highlighting the skill gaps, but more about having information visualized in agile.